Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weebs here. This is What If Naruto Had Half Hot and Half Cold Part 3, I believe. Last time we left off with teams Team 10 meeting up with Tazuna. If anyone needs a reminder, Team 10 is Naruto, Shikamaru and Choji. And they met up with Tazuna and they have to get ready for tomorrow morning because they're going to leave the village really early, around 6 a.m. So they go back home, they get ready. Naruto tells his mom that tomorrow he has a C rank mission, so he'll be going out. And Naruto's mom's like, wait, but you're just a genin, I don't understand, why? And Naruto's like, well, I asked grandfather if I can, my team can have a C rank mission, and I showed him that I know the full Hokage's technique, what was it called, the flying, and then she's like, the flying Raijin, you know it? And Naruto's like, yeah, look, I have a kunai with the Uzumaki seal on it. If I throw it on the wall there, and then he throws it, she's like, Naruto, and Naruto's like, it's just a demonstration, I didn't mean it. And she's like, okay, show me. And Naruto's like, let me get out of the house. So he gets out of the house, and out of nowhere, Naruto appears onto the kunai. Naruto's chakra doesn't get drained too much now because he's more used to it, but he can't spam it too much. Maybe once or twice in a fight, but that usually finishes the fight. If he spams it more than twice, like 3 times, that's pretty much it. He is out of chakra. And his mother is really proud of Naruto, that Naruto has learned such a strong technique, which only the 4th Hokage and the 2nd Hokage knew. And she's like, well done, Naruto, I believe you can finish this mission easily. And Naruto's like, thanks, mom. So Naruto is packing his stuff, and then his mom comes in and is like, shall I help you? Take this. And she gives him a kunai, a special kunai, basically a kunai that she used with her husband. Well, he died, and basically that kunai can sorry guys, wait. That kunai, if it's thrown at a chakra point, it can stop the chakra point completely, and sometimes even stop the ones that are near it. And Naruto's like, whoa, this kunai is pretty OP. And Naruto's mom, well, we used it to your father used it to allow me to escape from a strong shinobi that attacked us, and he couldn't make it. Naruto's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, no, it's fine, at least he died the way that he wanted, protecting me and the village. And Naruto's like, so if I throw this at, let's say, to 3rd Hokage, sorry guys, grandfather, does that mean his chakra points will be shut down? And she's like, you could say that, but it's not like the 3rd Hokage would allow you to hit him, because that kunai was made by me, your grandfather, and your father. And Naruto realizes that this kunai could actually come in really handy if it's a sticky situation, and if he actually hits someone, he can slow them down and actually try to beat them. So Naruto's like, thanks mom. And his mom's like, go have a bath after you're done and come for dinner. And Naruto's in the bath thinking about this mission, and he's thinking really hard on it, and he's like, what if this C rank mission is harder than what it looks like? Because Naruto doesn't really understand why a bridge builder needs protection to go to the land of waves. And then he was kind of suspicious that Tazuna needed someone to accompany him back to his land, but he didn't really think too hard on it, and he just let it go, and he went for dinner. So at night, Naruto was sleeping, and he realizes that he still needs to do his training, because he promised himself that he will do it every day. So Naruto gets ready for a bit of training with his ice release and fire release. So every time Naruto uses the ice release, he always has the pose that Todoroki had in the sports festival. And yes, I've been making progress in Boku no Hero Academia. I'm on season 4, episode 9. I will be finishing it by today or tomorrow morning around 1 a.m. Yeah, like, it's actually really good. If anyone hasn't watched it yet, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Like, my friends told me to start watching this when it was midway season 2, and I'm like, nah, I fell asleep on the first episode. This is boring, and now I come back to see this. This is amazing. I don't understand why I never watched it. Whatever. So let's continue. So Naruto does train for like an hour or two, and then he realizes it's already around 2 a.m. Well, not 2 a.m. Let's say it's around 12, because he wants to sleep at 10. Everyone in his house goes sleep at 10 because they wake up really early, and he goes back home, has another bath, and goes sleep. His mother knew about this because she heard Naruto walking out, but she didn't really say anything because she knows that Naruto trains every night really hard, and sometimes she does follow him by hiding her presence. Yes, she was a shinobi, so she knows how to do that, and she sees Naruto training really hard, and she trusts him, so she lets him go and train. But if it's more than 2 hours and a half, especially on a day before a mission, she knows that it's dangerous to not have enough rest. She was about to go out and get Naruto because it was getting late. It was around 12, and Naruto comes back and has a bath, and in 20 minutes he's already asleep, and she's like, okay, good, tomorrow morning he can wake up. I'm sure that 5 hours is enough sleep for a ninja. So Naruto wakes up around 5:30, and he's getting ready, and he said he has breakfast and says goodbye to his mother and Konohamaru, even the third Hokage, and he heads off with a goofy smile, because the third Hokage goes to his office around like 7 or 8, and Naruto is heading out at 6, so he doesn't head out with the third Hokage. Naruto is walking, and he realizes that maybe he's late because he did wake up at 5:30, not at 5 like he was meant to, because he didn't have enough. He couldn't sleep from 10, but he had to train. So Naruto does use like a little fire blast just to boost his speed, and he jumps there, and he realizes no one's there, and then Shikamaru comes out of nowhere and says, Naruto, you're already here. And Naruto's like, I thought you guys were here, so I used a bit of my fire Genkai to boost myself. And Shikamaru's like, what do you mean? And Naruto's like, well, I just put a lot of chakra on my hand, on my right side is cold, left side is hot. Yeah, on my left hand, and I released it all at once, and it gave me a speed boost. Well, he basically rocketed me here, and Shikamaru's that could come in handy in a mission, just saying. And not like, yeah, I know, but it's dangerous to do it on a wooden rooftop, and because it can set on fire. I did it on the ground, so it wasn't really that much, and even if it did catch fire, I'd just freeze it. But if it caught fire on top of someone's house, it would be really dangerous, and I'd get in trouble for it, and I could even lose my ninja license for that, because they do have ninja licenses, which is basically having the headband. And it's if they lose the headband, if they lose it in the mission, it's fine. But if like the Hokage takes it away, well, you're not a ninja no more. And if anyone's watched Boruto, Naruto did that to Boruto. He's like, nah, bro, you ain't no ninja. You cheated in the tuning exams. You're my son. My son wouldn't do that. Who you? And yeah, you don't. So the mission begins, and everyone's there. Even Asuma arrives, Choji arrives, of course. Choji took a bit more time because he needed to buy his snacks, and there weren't many shops open except for one of them on the other side of the village, so he had to wake up really early just to go there. Around 5 o'clock, and 5:30 he got out, and he came there just like 4 minutes before 6 a.m. Tazuna arrives at 6 a.m. sharp, and they head out. So Shikamaru is not paying too much attention to his surroundings, but when he does look to the left, he sees that there's a puddle, and Naruto already noticed it, and says it hasn't been raining for a while, Shikamaru. And then Shikamaru's like, "You're right," and Choji's like, guys, did you see that puddle? That's weird. I don't call it raining." Even Choji saw it, and then Asuma was overheard that and was really happy that his teammates, well, his team noticed such small detail. It wasn't really too visible that there was a puddle there, but he was really happy with them that they noticed it, and he's like, should I just fake a die and see how they handle it? And as soon as the demon brothers come out, Asuma's about to put his plan, but then Choji's like, human ball the jutsu, and then basically he plows them away. They're up in the air. As soon as they hit the ground, Shikamaru does his shadow possession jutsu. One of them is too far away, so he couldn't get that one, and that one was about threw a shuriken at Shikamaru until Naruto came in the way, basically using his ice release to stop the kunai, and then a path was. Sorry guys, I have a dry throat for some reason this morning. Well, I woke up at 1 p.m. so Naruto released his ice, and there was an ice path to the demon brother, and he was heading to him really fast. The demon brother tried to dodge by jumping, but then a spear of ice appeared from the ice path, and he basically impaled the demon brother and then froze him. So Naruto's like, well, that was easy. And Asuna was like, what the hell are these guys, Genin or Chunins? Because he's never seen a Genin team actually be able to just outsmart two Chunin and actually body them, even though it was 3v or 2 two Chunins should like a Jonin finds it hard to take on two Chunins, except especially if they're trying to kill him and he's not. While them, they just took them on without even trying to kill them. They just injured them a bit, just that so they can immobilize them. And he's really impressed by his team, and he thinks that his team is Chunin rank worthy already. But he plays that off, and he goes to the demon brothers, and he asks Naruto, "So Naruto, how are we going to get him out?" And Naruto's like, "Don't worry," and he used his fire release onto well, the puff of ice, it became fire, and it melted, so it became water. And the demon brother was like, what the, he just woke up out of nowhere, and he felt a warmth, and he realized that he got frozen, and then now he's back. And then Asuma's like, so you give me your you tell me who you're after, or you die, your choice. And they're like, oh, we're after Tazuna. And Asuma's like, wait, what? And Naruto in his head is like, I knew it, he was faking it. There was no way someone needs escorting to go to a land which is near the village, if they're not in danger. And Naruto is like, Naruto's like, so what does that mean? Because he saw the concerned face on Asuma. Asuma was thinking, no, if two Chunins are after Tazuna, that means other, maybe even Jonin and more Chunin are after him. And he realizes this is not a mission for two Genin, and he asks Tazuna. He basically ties the two brothers up and just leaves basically he ties them up, and Naruto's like, are you sure we should let them live? And everyone's confused at that except for Shikamaru and well, not confused, like they're kind of surprised that Naruto's like, wait, what? Why would we kill them? They're still human beings. And Naruto's like, there is no point of allowing two human beings who take other people, innocent people's lives, without thinking twice. There's no point of letting them live. They deserve punishment, and they deserve to die as well. And everyone understands where Naruto's coming from, because the two demon brothers have killed many people in the past, and Naruto doesn't like killing. He likes to settle it with words, but uh, thanks to his new ideals, because he would kill anyone that would try to hurt his innocent family. But if anyone just straight up killed innocent people for fun, he doesn't care about them, unless they got tricked or something. But these guys were getting paid for it, so Naruto's like, I wouldn't let them live, and he says, I'm sorry if you want to let them live, but no, I'm not allowing that. And he says no, and he releases his eyes and impales both of them on the chest and on the arms, and says, well, they're gone. And Naruto's like, and Shikamaru's like, well, he has a point there. And Asuma's like, I was gonna kill them as well, but I guess you did it first. And Children's like, whoa, Naruto, you're ruthless, as a joke. And everyone starts laughing. It's like, what do you mean ruthless? Anyone would have done that. And they start laughing and they keep going. And well, Tazuna does tell them about the mission, and Naruto's like, it's alright if if all three of us were able to overpower 2 Chunin ranked ninjas. I'm sure that Asuma and us three will be able to overpower at least a high rank Jonin. Unless it's a S rank Jonin, then they will have to retreat. Like someone like Itachi, they would never be able to beat him. But Itachi wouldn't attack them because he's not like that. He would actually try to escape, making it seem like he won't be able to beat them. But if it comes down to it, Itachi doesn't care. He would try to go for the kill. But that's not what we're here for. So Naruto and his team are walking, and they come to a river, and Tarzan's like, we have to cross the river, and they're like, oh, we don't have a boat though. And Asuma's like, maybe I should have taught them how to walk on water. And Naruto's like, don't worry guys, because in this one there is no boat, man, and there's no boat. It was just a river. So don't worry guys, I'll just freeze the river and we can walk on top of it. And they're like, well, but how are you gonna unfreeze it? And Naruto says, do you always forget that I have fire as well? And they're like, makes sense. So Naruto doesn't freeze the whole entire pond or the river. He just freezes a path to the other side, and they walk past it. Naruto then looks back and says, and just allows the ice path to burn until it's completely water, and the water extinguishes fire, so the fire just goes out without burning anything, because he did it on top of the ice. So as soon as he melted, the fire would go out because of the water. And then they kept walking until Asuma's like, everyone duck down. And Naruto, not only did he duck down, but he made an ice like a ice tower, not a really big tower, let's say the size of the height of a tree. And then they see that something hit the ice dome, something like an ice dome, just that it looked more like a pole, a big pole with a pole with a thick pole basically. And they hear something hitting it, and then Naruto releases a fire on the thing, and it the ice becomes water and it splashes around them. And then they see a sword just falling in front of Asuma, and Asuma's like, everyone jump back, and Asuma takes Tazuna and they all jump back. And then Zabuza appears on top of the handle of his sword. He's standing on his tiptoes, and with one leg, and the other leg is on up, and he's like, so you have a Kekkei as well. And he realizes that Naruto is really similar to Haku, but he couldn't really see Naruto using the fire style. And he says, so your Jonin team leader must have used fire style to melt the ice. And Naruto is like, yes, he did. And Asuma was kind of Shikamaru understood what Naruto was trying to do. Choji was confused, Asuma understood, and Tarzan was confused. And then Shikamaru mumbles to them. He doesn't want to give out too much information about him. If he gives fake info about Asuma, this guy won't know that we will have the jump on him. As soon as Naruto can use his fire, he can actually get this guy without him knowing that he can use it. And everyone is like, that's smart, that's smart. Well, Choji and Tazuna, and then Asuma's like, you must be Zabuza of the Mist, Zabuza. And Zabuza is like, so you must be Sarutobi Asuma. And then Asuma just says, just Asuma. And he's like, he's like to, sorry, I'm reading the script completely wrong. I missed like 6 lines and I have to go over them. So basically, I'm at the top of the page, I go to the bottom. I don't understand why. So basically, Asuma tells Naruto to jump back. Naruto just jumps back and says, what's going on? And Tazuna's like, that must be someone that got to kill me. And Asuma's like, this is going to be hard, but I can do this. Because Asuma and Zabuza are completely, you could say they're at the same level, but Asuma's a bit stronger because he is able to kind of beat Hidan in the original, but he doesn't because of Hidan's immortality. He does cut his head off a few times and once, and he could beat Zabuza, so he is kind of stronger than Zabuza, just that Zabuza has the upper hand because Zabuza can fight mid-range with his long blade, with the executioner's blade, and Asuma's more like a close range fighter. And then Naruto's like, hey Asuma sensei, I can already and no, let's say Shikamaru says this, and he's like, Asuma sensei, he looks like that guy can fight long range and you're a close range fighter. I think me and Naruto should help you while Choji protects Tazuna. And Choji's like, why me? And then Naruto comes in and says, Choji, you're the best suited to protect Tazuna. You can expand your body and then you can just use the human boulder jutsu on anyone that tries to attack him. And Choji's like, oh, I understand now. And is that alright? And so Asuma hears Shikamaru out and says maybe this could actually work, and he does go up against Zabuza, and Zabuza thinks he is a fool to even try to attack him until out of nowhere there isn't much sun, but then Naruto just does two from where he's standing. He does he basically you know how Endeavor has flames are all around his body, yeah? So let's say he just allows the flames to engulf him, so there's a lot of light, and and Zabuza is really confused at this, and then out of nowhere there's a shadow possession jutsu, and he gets Zabuza's shadow, and Zabuza is immobilized, and then Naruto is like, now Asuma sensei, and Asuma starts fighting. He stabs Zabuza, and Zabuza breaks out of the shadow possession jutsu, and Naruto realizes that Asuma is in danger because but then once Zabuza tries to slash Asuma puts wind release on his blades. I'm not sure what they're called, but let me search up. I'll go on my laptop right here. So 1 second. They're called chakra weapons, so chakra can overflow into these weapons. So Naruto does as soon as Zabuza tries to slash Asuma blocks it and then pulls out the other chakra weapon from Zabuza and says, close range, you have no chance. And then Zabuza's like, oh really? So he jumps back, and Asuma tries to run up to him again, and they try the same plan, but this time Asuma slips up because of the water, and Naruto's like, oh no. And Zabuza puts Asuma in a water prison, and Asuma is kind of drowning until Naruto's like, hey Shikamaru, you have to throw this shuriken, and then Naruto just throws smoke bombs, and this has to be quick, and Naruto transforms into shuriken, and Shikamaru understands immediately. Choji's like, go on Shikamaru, do it. And because even Choji understands this, even though he's not as smart as them two, he understands what they're doing. He is their teammate. So out of the smoke, a massive shuriken appears, and Zabuza's like, oh really? He's about to slice it until he misses him completely, and he's like, kid, your aim is so bad. And then out of the smoke, there's only one person in there, and then Shikamaru's like, you want my target. And he sees Choji at the back, Shikamaru at the front, and he doesn't see the Naruto, the one, and he's like, where's the icy one? And where's the ice and fire one? And then out of nowhere, Naruto transforms, and he throws the kunai that his mother gave him, and Zabuza dodges, and the kunai does go to hit the ground. And what Naruto has modified about this kunai, before he went to sleep last night, he did an Uzumaki seal on it and said, thanks mom, this will come in handy from now on. And Naruto is like, I'm going to make more of these. And then he went to sleep, and out of nowhere, Naruto he teleports onto the kunai, and then lets out his ice, and a spear of ice appears from Naruto's feet, and it tries to get Zabuza. It actually scratches Zabuza's arm, which injures him even more. Not only his shoulder got stabbed, but even his arm. And Naruto just, from that one spear, multiple spears came out, and they all tried to get Zabuza. Two of them stabbed the other arm, and Zabuza could barely, two of them, one each, stabbed two legs, and Zabuza could barely stand up and realizes that he lost because Asuma could just kill him at any moment, and Naruto is actually a force to be reckoned with. And out of nowhere, Haku appears and he says, I'm a hunter ninja. Thank you so much. You helped me find Zabuza and capture him. I've been searching him for the past 3 months. Thank you guys. And he just leaves. Asuma could tell he was lying because Haku was really stiff, but he lets it go. And then they were going to keep going, but then Naruto's like, hey, Asuma sensei, we can see that you're injured. Well, you're not injured, but you're really tired because you were drowning. I think you need like a rest. And then Naruto looks at them with a tired look, and they realize that Naruto used too much chakra in this fight. And Asuma's like, oh damn, I'm meant to be the Jonin team leader, but Naruto did most of the work here. And he's like, and Tazuna's like, don't bring yourselves down, kids, because he's older than them. And he's like, it's fine, you still protected me. That's the whole point of this mission, right? Come, let's go take we can go take a little break at my house. And then they're like, what do you mean little break? And Tazuna's like, we will stay at my house for a week because you never know, Gato might have other men there, and if we don't return, they're going to think that we died or something. And they understand that Tazuna is actually being smart about this and going the smart way, well, taking the smart route. And they go to Asuma's house, and Tazuna's house, Asuma, Tazuna, and they go to his house, and Naruto does still give the speech to Inari, and they do still train in chakra control. Well, even though Shikamaru knows this because his father taught him when he was teaching in the Shadow Possession Jutsu, Choji had to learn this to learn the human boulder jutsu, because he had to expand his body and he needed really good chakra control. And Naruto learned this on his own because he needed to master his ice and fire style, and also master the flying Raijin, which needed a lot of chakra control. And then Naruto's like, hey, how about we train on water walking? I haven't learned that yet. And they're like, water walking? And Asuma's like, that's actually really smart, but maybe tomorrow, it's getting late and you're tired. And Naruto's like, alright. So, and then out of nowhere, and then Asuma's like, wait, before we go, what did you just use, Naruto? I saw that you, from behind me, you teleported in front of me onto that kunai. And Naruto's like, oh, that. So he shows the kunai, and Asuma knows that kunai and says, hey, that's the kunai your mother has. And Naruto's like, yeah, mom gave it to me just because she thought it might come in handy. And then I carved an Uzumaki seal on it, so I can teleport to it. And then Naruto shows his full set. He has like the full Hokage kunai, but just that the color is different. So you know the black part is white, and the handle, instead of being brown, it's black. And he shows that, and he's like, well, these are my new kunais. I use them for fighting strong opponents. I usually use I don't use normal kunais anymore, and except for the one that looks like a normal one but it's blue. And I engraved an Uzumaki seal on it and colored it white yesterday night before going to sleep. And they're like, oh, that's why you were kind of sleepy this morning. And I was like, yeah, I did wake up right before the mission. And they're like, oh, we understand. But then Asima's like, but how did you learn this? Did the third Hokage teach you? And he's like, no, basically, remember the kid that stole the scroll? Well, I took the scroll from him, and I told him that I'll give it to the third Hokage. But before I gave it, I wrote down some ninjutsu. I wrote down this: the majestic flame, destroyer flame, the water dragon jutsu, the wind gale palm, also the water shockwave, and the lightning release, lightning stream. And also I learned the mud earth style mud wall. And they're like, wait, what? You have every single chakra transformation? And Naruto's like, pretty much, yeah. And they're so confused right now, and they're like, Naruto, you'll have to explain all of this when we get back to the village. Now let's go get a rest. And the next day, they do start training, and then Naruto can't master it yet because of Kurama. And Asuma's like, Naruto, you shouldn't stay out too long, you're still drained. Then Naruto's like, I'm going to keep training and come back when I master it. And they're like, do you? Because they know Naruto can, but then Naruto is lying on the ground that night, and he does meet Haku, and Haku says, if you have someone precious, you will get stronger. And Naruto agrees with that because he does have he does have 6 precious people to him: his teammates, his sensei, his uncle, basically, his mother, his little brother, and his grandfather. And he tells Haku that he never had a family until he was like 9. And Haku's like, what do you mean? And Naruto tells Haku that he was always an orphan, and Haku can relate with that. He's like, oh, you're just like me. I lost my parents when I was really young, and they really socialize until it's getting late. And Naruto's like, Haku's like, it's getting late, I think you should go back. And Naruto's like, oh yeah, you're right, my team might get, my sensei might get worried, well, my teammates might get worried. And he's like, and Haku says, waves goodbye, and he thinks to himself, I really don't want to fight this kid tomorrow. And Naruto gets back, and he sees Shikamaru waiting outside, acting like he didn't care. And he's like, Naruto, you're late. You're just a drag. You were meant to eat dinner. And Naruto's like, you could have ate dinner. I can see everyone else eating. You're just worried about me. And then Shikamaru's like, shut up, Naruto. Let's just get in. And he has a smile on his face because he sees that Naruto is smiling, and he must have mastered it. While they're walking in, this is like, did you master the water walking? And Naruto's like, you believe it. And that's where I'm going to end it. I'm going to cover the end of the Zabuza arc. Also, I'm going to cover the tuning exams tomorrow. Probably, well, maybe tomorrow or yeah, tomorrow. I'm probably gonna cover the first exam, the second exam in Zabuza's arc, and maybe no, the preliminaries 100%, and then I'll cover the day afterwards, or whenever I make this wife again, I'm going to cover the finals, the Leaf Invasion, the Sasuke retrieval, the Tsunade retrieval arc, and the Sasuke retrieval arc as well. And then we'll go into Shippuden. So I've told you guys what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to make 2 more what ifs now, and then start watching Boku no Hero for the rest of the day. I hope you all enjoyed. Please take care, stay safe, stay indoors, and peace.